Hello, guys. Guess what? It's March 15th. It's 2011. It's Tuesday. This is Dayman Daily number 269. I'm excited because today it's Newbie Tuesday, where we kind of stop doing all that high-level analysis garbage, and we focus on the very base fundamental level, the base ultra fundamentals, because I know there's a lot of you folk out there who may not even play StarCraft, or who are new to RTSs, and you don't have RTS in your blood. Because my heart has been pumping real-time strategy games since the good old Warcraft 2 days, when I had to use my 9600 baud modem, way back when baud was an actual unit that people were aware of. But nowadays you all have cable and internet, and you're doing your first-person shooter stuffs, and suddenly you're thrown into the world of RTS, and ugh, it can feel so scary. And Newbie Tuesday's goal is to make it unscary. So what today is going to be, I will say straight up, it is not nearly as fleshed out as I would like, but that is okay because I'll just redo it at a later point if it is so inadequate. But the purpose of today is how to get into StarCraft 2 as a player. Because I know that there are a lot of you out there who just don't even play StarCraft 2. That's actually one of the biggest pieces of feedback I've gotten from going to events like PAX, which was amazing, going to BlizzCon and other things. A lot of people who watch the daily just don't play. And I'm sure a lot of you have buddies who just don't play. Or a lot of you want to play, but it's scary. And I want today's daily to be all about how to get in to StarCraft 2 and to play it. Yeah. So, before we go into that, just want to announce I will be commenting on the Team Liquid Star League. Yes! Starting on Saturday, so of course, tune in. Do it. Tune in. Go to teamliquid.net and watch me. It'll be starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, I want to say. At the very least, that's when they told me to be there. Also, I will be at MLG Dallas. I'll be doing the commentary action. And guess who's going to be my buddies? JP McDaniel and DJ Wheat. Things are just working out. I also have Pylons and Probe shirts that was given to me by two fine individuals in Germany, and that will even be part of today's daily, because my whole body is devoted to StarCraft 2 today. Ah, how glorious. Let's go ahead and return back to the issue at hand. You want to get into StarCraft 2, but you never have. Or you have a buddy who wants to get into StarCraft 2 but never has. How does one get into StarCraft 2? Well, first of all, I want to show you something. Single player. I want you to just play the single player of this game. That is the first and most important thing. Because you know what? StarCraft 2 has a pretty darn good single player. It's very well thought out. It has the whole scaling aspect to it, where you can actually get into playing this game, right? Everything's going to be fine if you just start there. It cannot possibly be bad. However, there's one brief set of things I want you to do before going into any sort of single-player mission. This is just the one thing that I want you to do. The one thing that I want you to do, which is to, once the thing gets loaded up, come on, little circle. Very good. We're going to play on Agria Valley. Yes. AI add. Of course I'm going to be yellow. Very good. Faster. Excellent. I do believe that there is... Actually, never mind. Completely ignore what I was about to say. The one thing that I want you to do, just at the very start, if you're thinking of getting into StarCraft 2 in any competitive sense at all, if you want to just play it a lot more, this is the one thing I want you to do. I want you to use your keyboard. So these little probes that we're going to send to mine, go mine, guys. And I want you to just be using the keyboard as much as possible, right? So here, we have the probe. We could click on it. But we're going to hit E instead. Yes, very good. And I want you to just always click on... I want you to use the keyboard as much as possible. As much as possible. Just get in the habit of that. You know, I'm not going to really get on your ass about using the control groups, like Control 1 through Control whatever. I'm actually just going to tell you to just use Control 1. Just Control 1. So, for instance, this probe, mark him as Control 1. So that way we can send him out. Go, little probey, right? Send him out. Notice how slow I'm moving around. Build some probes, that's good. But I just want to make sure that you are using 1-1. Hey, I just selected this probe. I'm awesome! We don't actually have to use anything more than that. If you want to go build a pylon, that's great, but don't obsess about, using... For instance, I can do something like build pylon and shift send him back. You can see the little movement bar, the little lines. I'm not even going to tell you that you have to do that yet. I'm not going to tell you at all that you have to do that. I just want you to get in the habit of using the keyboard some. That's it. That's it. Just use the keyboard some when you're playing on that single player. Now, for instance, if you've played through single player and you've done that and now you want to go into it, just do the exact same thing I said for the practice league. Just play it. Wing it, mess around, make sure that you're just using the keyboard some. I'm going to kind of assume that you are completely, totally not involved in StarCraft at all, that when you get placed in Practice League, you're going to go 05 and get dumped right into Bronze, and that's great. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. We're not going to worry about that at all. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going to take a complete break from doing things that seem StarCraft related. I'm going to talk about this tangential field of mindset. Oh, my gosh, but I don't even play. Oh, how can you be talking about mindset when I'm not yet a competitor, when I am but an 05 bronze guy? Because it is important. It is so important. I cannot tell you how important this is. The number one reason that you're going to do this is because it's fun. It's the number one reason you're going to be doing any of this is because it's fun. Fun has to be the number one reason that you're doing this. The number one reason you're doing this is for fun. Now, for some reason, a lot of people tend to think of winning in competition and like all that good stuff as orthogonal and completely separate from like having fun. Or excuse me, not orthogonal. I mean like opposing to having fun, where it's like, okay, well, I can be a cold-blooded killer and try to murder everyone whom I play against. Or I can have fun. Oh, no, those are you can definitely do both of those. Like, I had the most delightful time playing Brood War competitively, like hardcore. Like, that was like a half of my life was playing that. The other half was like school and friendship, and there was overlap between the other things. Actually, I shouldn't, say it so jokingly. The other half was like school and going out to other social events, but about half of it was playing StarCraft and interacting with, friends of StarCraft, and I was so happy doing that. I was so happy, and it's really important that you think about it in the right way, because there are periods in my StarCraft life where I was not happy, right, where it was terrible. So here's the number one rule. Now that we've established that having fun is how we're going to think of everything, the number one rule that I want you to just do right off the bat, and I'm actually going to yell it at you. Get your ego out of the fucking game. Put your ego aside. You're not playing StarCraft so you can lord your e-penis over other people. You're not doing that. I know a lot of people, actually not that many, it's actually kind of unusual, but still, there's a lot of people who get into games and they have, I don't know, maybe they don't have the best time at school. They're kind of alienated by people, and they think, well, I'm going to go in this game and I'm going to bash people. I'm going to feel good about myself. And sometimes it's even a subconscious decision that they get on, and when they beat someone, they're like, yeah, fuck that guy. Got him. Ha ha ha. Yeah, and they start talking smack and all that stuff. Don't do that. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that at all. I want you to remove your ego from the game, because the worst part about this, the reason that I don't want you to do this, is that if you start losing, you hate on yourself. Oh, I don't want you to do that. And when you win, a lot of times you get this, finally, I'm really good at this game. I deserve to have that win. I don't want you to do any of that. I want you to just have fun learning, and when you win, be like, yeah, and when you lose, be like, how can I avoid that in the future? How can I improve? How can I learn? Think of it in the right way. All right, cool. So now we have our egos out of the game. We know it's just an activity that we're going to do to have fun. There's another thing I want to note, which is the rating system, which can be an extremely daunting thing for people, an extreme problem, so much so that I have to interrupt everything in order to just talk about this right now, which is that a rating system is not a measure of skill. It is not a measure of skill. Your rating is not your skill. A rating system has never been a measure of skill. It is a measure of progress. Let me give the obvious example. When I sat down at StarCraft 2, I had like 12 years of Brood War RTS competitive nerdism in my body, I was gonna be better than the person who has never played StarCraft 2 who just bought the game. However, I have 0 points and he has 0 points. I obviously have more skill than that person because the rating system is not a measure of skill. And people will always say, "Oh yeah, well you have to play like 400 games and then it's a measure of skill." Yeah, sure, there's a correlation. It would be dumb if I won a lot and my rating plummeted, right? But I want you to just remove this idea that it is your measure of skill, because I hear this all the time. I'm in the Silver League, but I really am a Gold League player. No, you're not. If you're in the Silver League, you're just in the Silver League. You need to play. You want to advance to the Gold League because that's a measure of progress. But you should not convince yourself that somehow you're being misrepresented. You just are where you are. This would be the equivalent of saying, I ran 5 miles today, but I really ran like someone who runs 10 miles. I'm really kind of someone who's like into the 10-mile running zone. I can do that, but I ran 5. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. I ran a 6-minute mile, but you know what? I really think that I deserve to have run like about a 5-minute mile. It's just like don't worry about it. Like it's your measure of progress. It's how you're doing. The main thing I want you to think of as the rating system is a reason to celebrate and a reason to just gush over how awesome of a person you are. Right? Like, I'm in Silver League, I'm practicing. I got promoted to Gold League. I have made progress. And we're going to talk about that later on, right? But again, I have to get all this mind stuff out of the way. I won't get into that urge not to play stuff yet. I want you, here's another really key thing that I think is undervalued, which is before you ever really get into StarCraft, like, you're kind of scared to delve in because maybe it's intimidating. Maybe you've wanted to but haven't quite known how to do it. Get some buddies who play StarCraft. Like, really. And if you don't know where to do that, here, let me actually open this up. Okay, quickly. TeamLiquid.net. Team Liquid. All right, I want you to go down here, and I want you to go to this blogs section right here, blogs. And I want you to create a blog where you're saying, I want to have buddies who play this game. Or go to your school and say, hey, guys, I want to get into StarCraft 2. Or maybe you have a friend, or maybe like your sister who you're really good buddies with, but who's not a gamer at all. And you're like, do you want to do this activity with me? Get a friend, get some people to play with you. And there are so many important aspects about having some buddies. The first and foremost is that you just have someone to do the activity with. Kind of like, a workout buddy, where the morning you wake up and you're like, I don't want to do it. And your buddy's like, come on, let's just do it. And then you do it, right? If you're just on your own, it's kind of limiting. So, all right, cool. We're going to come back to the buddy thing, to this progress thing, and to the getting your ego out of the game thing a lot. We're going to come back to that a lot, right? These are the important things that we want to do when getting into the game. First, now you have just finished playing a single player, you're ready to play in the practice league. I want you to just start playing some games. Just do whatever. Just do whatever the hell you want. My roommate, Sean, because I live with 3 Seans, because my house is awesome. Sean, who lives through this wall. If you can push your whole body through here, you will run into him. He just thinks Void Rays kick ass. So he just makes Void Rays. That's fine. I want you to do what Sean does and just only make Void Rays. Asher, who lives through that door, if I don't even have to walk through a wall, I can just open a door because I'm not weird. I don't try to walk through walls, right? I just down the hall. Asher likes Immortals. Asher was only making Immortals until he switched to Terran and he was only making Vikings. Just do that. That's okay. I want you to first do that. And of course, you will have your natural gamer intuition. And what I did is I actually downloaded a game here. I downloaded between Captain Pickles and Panda Boots. This was from SC2 Replayed. Is it crashing? Well, whatever. I will just open up SC2 Replayed. All right, cool. It looks like it's at the very least doing something. And once it's up, I'm actually going to pause it. I'm going to close this, and we need to open up Team Liquid. Very good, very good. I want to come back here to SC2 Replayed. By the way, big thanks to them for helping to promote the Fun Day Monday for next week, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But what I did is I just downloaded like the most recent bronze 1v1 game from this website. And it ended up popping up here. Yeah, it looks like some more games have been uploaded. There's Panda Boots versus Captain Pickles. Very cool. The player of this game was Panda Boots. I do believe Panda Boots was the winner of this game. I want you to pretend that you're Panda Boots. And in the process of just playing your Practice League games, let's say you lose a lot of them, or playing your Bronze League games and you're losing a lot of them, I want you to get in the habit of celebrating when you win. I want you to get in the habit of both making fun of yourself and celebrating when you win. That's a very important thing to do, and this is where your buddies come in. My friend Tristan, who you hear me talk about all the time, anytime I play a game on the ladder where I beat one of those like mega ultra ghostus, I just like send it to him like, look at me bashing X person. And we watch the replay and I narrate it. I'm like, all right, 3, 2, 1, go. Kind of like we're dating and we want to watch a movie and Netflix together, right? I want you to do that with your buddies, with your replays. Be like, all right, here. So let's begin celebrating in the way that Panda Boots should, right? Let's pretend that we're Panda Boots. Now let's go to the Everyone Can. So you're narrating to your friend. All right, so I spawned Protoss. He was Terran. I don't really like this matchup very much, but you know what? By the way, I don't know Panda Boots at all, so I'm just making this up. I'm just making this up for him. But I want you to be like, yeah, so I don't pylon block myself. Very good. Sending out my little scout. Okay, cool. Captain Pickles doing the infamous double depot. Now, for the record, if you play this like hardcore competitively and you watch a lot of matches, you're going to know right off the bat that double depot is awful, right? We know right now that Captain Pickles is not a contender for the next GSL S-Code match series, right? And will probably lulls about it. Feel free to just joke about whatever you want. Again, this relates back to this getting your ego out of the game. There are a lot of people who will be in Panda Boot's situation and be like, oh god, I forgot a probe. I can't show anyone this. I can't show them. Oh, I need to hide in a corner and sculpt my craft because I need to make sure that it's actually good. If you guys rewatch the early dailies, they're dog shit, right? I talk weird. I don't even talk like me. Ugh. I should actually restream one of my old dailies and do a commentary of it because I like tried to be all cool. I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice here. Take it or leave it. Just something I think that perhaps you could mull over in your spare time. Because you know what? Like, even though it was dumb, StarCraft gave me a very important lesson that it's just so important to get your ego out of the game. So you know what? I started doing the daily streams, not having my ego in it at all. And look now, you're watching it. All right? So it at least has some validity to it. And I want you to just get in this habit of being able to step outside yourself and do this sort of like, all right, so I successfully build Pylon without having my guy there. All right, so and then we speed it up. And then, you know, you can just be like, oh, dude, and I had this probe in here for so long. Like, let's say you always lose your scout worker as Panda Boots, and you're saying to your friend, and oh man, I kept that thing alive for so long, I was really happy about that. Picked off the simulator, yeah. Point out your faults, but my god, congratulate yourself on the stuff you did well, right? Yeah, and I started that warp gate right when my cybernetics core finished. Yes, awesome. And you can kind of discuss, yeah, Captain Pickles, it's so gay, LOL, don't want you going Banshees. Yeah, you know what, this is awesome, I actually love this. Notice that there's no animosity here. There's sort of like the tongue sticking out. There's this sort of positive attitude. That's what I mean by getting your ego out of the game. I already like these two players because they get their ego the hell out of the game, right? So you're playing, you want to be doing all this stuff, right? Okay. Now I'm actually going to be accelerating this so I can get to the finer points, but I want you to be rewatching this with your buddy, and then, you know, you can say something like, oh man, he's making so many Marines, I'm going to crush those later on. Oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. Congratulate yourself, hardcore. Yeah, you know what? Robotics Bay going down because Colossi are mega awesome. And then you can just sort of like joke about, all right, so he expanded here, and I didn't see that he had expanded over there. I ended up walking in here, saw his stuff. And you can even be joking with your friend, you know, like, why the hell would anyone expand here? And what happens is this feedback loop in your brain occurs where you start to just enjoy the act of being social around the game and celebrating. And because, you know what, there's really not enough opportunities in life to brag that are, like, socially appropriate. Like, I'll never be like, hi, I'm Sean, I recently got an A on a math test. I'm not, you know, oh, hello, I'm Jeanette, I'm an Olympic class ice skater. People are like, oh, aren't you obnoxious? But again, if you have your StarCraft buddies, it's not bragging so much as getting together and celebrating, alright? So, celebrate. Feel free to be like, and oh my god, I found this expansion, and at this point, I was just like, yeah, try to Hydra expansion against me. And then, of course, meanwhile, back in my base, I'm forgetting to macro because I'm awful. Feel free to say these sorts of things. It's very, very fun to bash on yourself. Don't bash on other people. Bash on yourself and keep it positive because then you'll have a lot more fun. It's very, very easy to be sort of nasty to other people. It takes a little more effort to be positive and lighthearted, but I want you to do it. I want you to do it. I'll be right back. Yeah, look, pausing the game and all this sorts of good stuff. And then you can be saying things like, yeah, at this point in the game, I had it won, I had it demolished. Yeah, good stuff. Notice how much I'm talking about only the social aspects at this point. We've actually been doing the daily for like 20 minutes already. And this is the first game we've really watched, and there's not even that much gameplay that I'm going over on this Newbie Tuesday. It's just thinking about it in the right way. And now we talk, oh my gosh, yes, and then here comes the big attack, and looks like Panda Boots is doing a good job repositioning all his jank. And here comes the major push. Bum, ba-da-da-da. Yes! And if you're with your buddy, you're going to do a collective fist bump. You're going to be like, yeah, I crushed that. And then you can be like, LOL, Marines are the worst unit in the game. Which they're not. But yes, you can just comfortably say that. Captain Pickles, of course, trying to expand. Panda Boots, of course, trying to deny the expand. Captain Pickles, run! Run, motherfucker! You know, do all that sort of fun action. And it looks like the war of attrition is going to be successful. Or Captain Pickles getting taken down. Getting taken down. And of course, Panda Boots shortly thereafter would be like, yeah, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. So that's something I want you to do. I want you to do. Right now, what has happened in your StarCraft career thus now? Well, you've been placed in the Bronze League. You've played a couple of games. You have a buddy that, you know, you celebrate your wins with. And you should always feel free to, you know, maybe to critique some losses, but we want to have fun. We want to make that the benchmark. If you know, wanted to be slave to the art of improvement, I could tell you the way to do that. I could tell you, all right, here's the regimen I want you to do. I want you to do like 2 hours every day of this, and I want you to do that, and when you rewatch your games, I want you to do this, and I want you to write this following stuff down. We could do that. That's great. But it wouldn't quite be as fun. I had the wonderful opportunity of having played the original Brood War from the moment it came out. The original StarCraft 1 from the moment it came out. So I was in the middle of the road with everyone as people figured out things to do. In fact, there were people, like I was around during the day when people said, should you use your mouse and keyboard or just mouse? And people would be like, you don't need the keyboard for, like, anything. You just need it for the A button, for the attack, and that's it. All these people with their fancy hotkeys are just wasting their time. You know, now we know that that's stupid, but in my old school day, these are the discussions that people had. Right? So I was always really only playing to have fun, and I had a lot of friends, and yeah, sure, the art of improvement was part of that, but again, do not want you to forget that now that there's a lot of good people who can tell you the exact way to improve. So, now we're going to start getting into some more specifics. Now we're going to start getting into some more specific stuff of the gameplay itself, of how to start becoming more of a competitor. So you're in the Bronze League. What I want you to do, and this is an important activity, I want you to go to a website like Team Liquid, the site that I spend a huge amount of time on. I want you to come over here to this side, and I want you to look at some of these user streams. I want you to start watching people play. Yeah, sure, some tournament stuff is great. I want to encourage you to just pick maybe one person. Let's say you're a Terran player and you pick Paying User. By the way, you'll note that I haven't refreshed Team Liquid in a while because the daily is actually going on right now. You're watching it. But I want you to pick a player, and I want you to just watch him periodically, like 3 times a week. Go here and just watch a stream. Line it up with some activity. Like at lunch, for instance, I at lunch watch StarCraft. While I'm eating, I just watch StarCraft. I have a ton of work email that I have to do. While I have work email being answered here, I just have StarCraft idly over there. And while I'm trying to figure out the most brilliant word choice to send away, I might glance over at the stream and be like, Paying User, you badass. Because I want just StarCraft to be on your brain. And I want you to have some inspiration. By the same token, I want you to pick one player and I want you to make him your hero. Right? I want you to pick a hero. I want you to follow your hero. And I want you and all your buddies, maybe it's one, maybe it's a group of 4 or 5 people, to each pick their hero. So that way you can do something like, oh my god, your hero player Kiwikaki is playing against my hero player Idra. Oh my gosh. And then you can watch together. And it becomes more of a social experience. You're seeing how I'm pulling in this social aspect because it's so damn important. My brother was in my house because my mom wasn't an asshole and didn't make him live in the backyard, right? We actually shared a room. So I would come home and I'd be like, oh gosh, I had a long day. I don't even want to play StarCraft because I'm tired. And I would look, and there he is. There's Nick playing. I got the chance to see StarCraft there. It was on the brain. So I want these streams to be on there. And naturally what'll happen is that you'll see things that get your excitement up. See things that get your excitement up. And what I want you to do, here is the first thing that I want you to do in terms of actual improvement of play, which is just mimicking. I want you to mimic. We're actually going to watch a game, and this is what I mean by mimicking. I have a game like Dimaga. Let's say Dimaga is your hero player. He is your hero. We're just going to mimic Dimaga. I just want you to steal it. One of my favorite parts about StarCraft 2 is the fact that you can watch a really good player play, and then you can go home and try to do it, and you can literally live out the fantasy of being that person. I know a lot of people who watch football, American Hand Egg, and they'll be like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, man. And they fantasize about being the quarterback on the team. But they don't have, a giant team of players to play on. They don't have the equipment. They don't have anyone to really do it with. And honestly, if you want to play football, you kind of need, 10 people to play, a reasonable pickup game. And even then, you can't really do the serious type of stuff that they do in, NFL. But with StarCraft, it's easy as hell. Let's watch Dimaga. Oh, man, we want to fantasize about being Dimaga. And I'm going to actually blast through this game. I'm going to blast through it very, very quickly because I want to give an example of living out this fantasy, of living this out. I want you to just steal it in as best a way you can. I could give you a lot of words of advice on how to steal it and all that good stuff. But the important thing is just that you're trying to steal it your best. So we're seeing an expansion come out, right? We're seeing that sort of stuff. We're seeing 2 queens get built early on. I'm actually going to speed this up a little bit. All right? And we're seeing, okay, all right, you're watching this game. Now, the thing is that, from my perspective, okay, let me be just unfair for a moment. I do this every day. Every single day, I do a show about analysis. I've played this for 12 years. It is unfair of me to be like, all right, now for you need to, all right, there's 2 queens, please write this down, right? Let's say you're brand new. You might just say, okay, he's going for an expansion. And that is about all that really sticks out to you. And he's getting, he's getting a layer and an expansion. All right, now, the ordering of this is really important. But it's not as important as the fact that you want to try to steal what he's doing. Okay, now here the Banshee comes out, and, cloaking and all this stuff. Infestation Pit. Now, I'll tell you right now, this is a touch unusual. This is a little bit unusual to get an Infestation Pit this early on in the game. And whoa, another expansion here. If you're observing this in a major tournament, you might say to yourself, huh, an infestor play, cool. And the infestors might be the cool thing for you. Now, I'm actually going to leave this right now. I'm actually going to get out of this game. And let's say in your next attempt to play, again, I will host this on Agria Valley, and I want you to just try your best to wing it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will make this person Terran. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The important thing is mimicking. The important thing is mimicking, right? So, I unconsciously set up my hotkeys. This doesn't matter. This really doesn't matter. Now, while you're mimicking, I want you to just kind of be aware of, like, letting your money get too high. I want you, to tangentially be concerned about that. But it is not as important as trying to just copy an approximation of what that person is doing. So what did I see in that game? Well, you know what? I saw infestors, and I saw a lot of bases, and that's it. Alright, cool. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do exactly that. This is actually going to be somewhat drawn out, but it is actually very important. It is actually very important. Now, what'll kind of eventually happen, what'll eventually end up happening, is that, and everyone's guilty of this, is that the cool thing is what you'll obsess about. The big, bright, flashy thing. In that game, the big, bright, flashy thing was infestors. With no other units, no roaches, no hydras, no mutalisks, very few zerglings, infestors. So what happens? You end up going to play, and you're like, yeah, let's get those infestors, baby. I want to be like Demaga, and I want to get those infestors. Yeah, so you know what? I'm actually doing something different than what Demaga did. Demaga actually took an expansion on 15, and then built a gas geyser, built an extra drone, and then made a spawning pool. I don't care, because I'm trying to mimic him. And the thing for me, the Bronze League player, was that the infestors were built, and that was cool, and I want to do that. So what happens now, I might end up getting a layer way too quickly. I might end up getting this, like, loads earlier. I might get my second extractor loads earlier. But I'm going to just try to just wing it. So, for instance, let's say I send this drone over here. This is the sort of thing that's very commonly happening with bronze level players, and this is okay. I'm intentionally making some mistakes. Because the bronze, let's say you, the bronze level player, you're going, okay, well, I saw infestors, I saw an expansion. Okay, so I got the expansion up. Okay, so let's start getting my queen up. Come on, queen. Alright, cool. So I'm doing that. You're noticing that, like, I have larva left over. I have money here. I'm not actually that worried about that. I'm not actually that worried about that. I want you to live out the power fantasy of being Demaga. And what a fantasy that is indeed. And what we're already seeing is that there's quite a few bumps. There's quite a few things going wrong. But that is okay. That is okay. I want you to have a little bit of awareness of it. I want you to have a little bit of awareness of it. So, for instance, I want you to kind of be aware that our gas is really high. Whoops, let me put some guys in here. Our gas is kind of high. Our money's kind of low. Well, you know what? That kind of is a little bumpy. Oops, maybe I forgot an overlord. Maybe my expansion won't be able to have a queen edit or something like that. But what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up building some infestors. We're going to be a badass. And that is really, really key. I will tell you straight up. I will tell you straight up. This is going to be a shameless brag, right? This is really shameless. There were very few people who could compete with me from about 2003 to 2008 in the Americas. 2003, no, that's actually not true. 2003, yeah, I was awful then. 2005 to 2008, I think is fair. And I only ever did things that I liked. It is so easy to get caught up in this idea of, now what is a standard build? Am I doing the standards right? Am I doing that? You know what? Get out of the way, mouse pointer. I saw someone do something crazy, and I went, ooh, I want to do that. And I did. And I was able to be very, very successful with that. So if being successful is a concern of yours, I can just tell you right now, get it out of the way. Only do things that you like. Demaga is actually one of the leaders in Zerg play because he does do things crazy like, oops, my layer's done. Time to make an infestation pit right away. And then he's going to play that out. Whoops, got to make some drones. Again, I want you to just kind of be aware of the keyboard. Oops, larva inject. What's the button for that? V. All right, cool. Very good. Very, very good stuff. Now, that is the first thing that I wanted to throw out there, is mimicking, right? Mimicking. As a bronze player, I want you to have heroes. I want you to watch these tournaments. I want you to get together with buddies and watch matches. I want you to have, in particular, one player that you always follow, that you're really into, and I want you to do a lot of mimicking and stealing, because it's a very cool feeling when you watch someone do a strategy and you're like, I'm going to do that too. And you do it horribly, but you win, and you're like, yeah! Then I want you to show that again to one of your buddies. I want you to show that. Now, here comes the big 5 things. The big 5 things. This is probably going to be the big 5 lessons that I want you to learn. That is going to be the trend that I want you to sort of constantly loop through in your mind. And some of you might be saying, well, gee, Day, why did you wait till the 35-minute of your daily to tell me these important 5 things? Because improving and doing all that stuff is not nearly as important as having fun, developing a good base friendship, and creating StarCraft is a part of your life that you really like. That is the important thing. Because I guarantee you, there's very few players out there who are going, yeah, StarCraft sucks, but you know what? It's a way to make a living. I'm in it for the money. Right? And that's not good. I want you to habitize it. So, here we go. Here are the 5 things I want you to do. The first one is mimicking, that I spent a long time on, because again, I want you to have fun that way. Then there is refining. I want you to do a lot of some games devoted to refining. Some games devoted to experimenting. And things devoted to benchmarking your improvement. We're going to talk a lot about all these in depth, but I want to list them out. And the last one, 5, some fun, goofy things. I want you to be doing some fun games, like scheduling them in. So here comes a regimen. You're in the Bronze League. I want you to play 5 games a week, period. 5 games a week. You can play 1 game a day. You can play 1 game a day. Make yourself play 1 game a day. Make yourself play 1 game a day. What you'll probably end up finding is that you will want to play more. You'll play a game, and you'll be like, oh, that was a bitter loss. I want to play more. But play 5 games a week. This is how we start getting StarCraft in on the brain. Playing StarCraft 5 games a week, and also 3 days a week. I want you to just tune into a stream. I want you to just watch a stream while you're at breakfast. Or perhaps you're trying to get better at working out. I want you to put StarCraft on your monitor and then sit on your floor and do sit-ups and push-ups. Like, seriously, I do push-ups and look up at the screen. You can do that. Or, you know, if you have one of those bikes, you know, do it on there or something like that. I want you to do that. I want you to just have it on the brain. I want you to have it on the brain, on the brain. And we already talked a little bit about mimicking. Now, in your 5 games a week, I want you to note that the big 3, the first ones I mentioned, mimicking, refining, and experimenting, I want you to have those thrown in there. I want you to have those thrown in there. At least one of those 5 games, I want it to be you stealing someone's build. At least one of those 5 games, I want it to be you refining a build that you have done a lot. And at least one of those games, I want it to be you experimenting with something totally new. Let me go into a refinement example. And this is one that I have done before. Let's do a 4 warp gate. Let's do a 4 warp gate. We're going to show not just the value of refinement, but we're going to show how to do some refinement. Right? So I'm going to do Protoss. 4 warp gate, a very easy, very, very effective opening. Now, the important thing with refinement is that you are repeating a build a lot. A lot of people will just sort of mess around and do all sorts of things. I want you to devote at least one of those 5 games to be you repeating a build that you've done forever and ever and ever and ever. Like, seriously, this should be a build you do a lot. If you want to play more games a week than just 5, I want you to devote 1 day to refining. 1 day to refining. So here we are. I'm now playing this game. Oopsie daisies. I actually need to I need to reset because you know what? If our game starts at the 43-second mark, that's probably going to mess up this example quite a bit. Play versus AI. Play versus AI. Repetition is an extremely important part of being a successful player. Many new folk do not value repetition enough. They really do not. I also have to increase the game speed, gameplay, faster, very good. They do not value repetition enough. What I'm going to show you right now is a poorly refined game. The brief example we're going to go through is it's just going to show you what the effect can be if you don't refine enough. I'm actually going to not use my keyboard hand. There it is. It's up in the air. Alright, so it's now sitting. I'm just sort of casually playing. Alright, cool. Alright, let's make some probes. Oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and chrono boost that. I'm going to chrono boost this. There's actually a video series called Pylons and Probes. It was done on a previous Newbie Tuesday. Pylons and Probes, where we really talk about pylons and probes being like the most important things ever. The idea is that if you're constantly making probes and never forgetting to make pylons, you will suddenly be the greatest player in the universe. Right? Good. So, as we're seeing, you know what, this looks pretty normal. This probably looks like one of your games. Okay, oh, and now we have enough for a gateway. I'm going to go ahead and build one of those. There we go. I'm going to send that sucker back. I'm going to stop playing when I'm at, like, 30, let's say 34 food. We're a little while into the game when we're at 34 food. Alright, I'm hanging out. I'm going to make some more probes. Alright, good. I'm making my probes. Again, just sort of sitting, hand on my face. Okay, I'm starting to realize that I might want to build a geyser. Because you know what? I saw a player do a 4 warp gate, and I was really into that. I'm going to make some more probes. Oh, crap, chrono boosting. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I saw one of my favorite players do all that sort of good stuff with a 4 warp gate. I kind of want to be like him. Oop, my gateway's getting close to done. Build Zealot. You know what? I'm actually going to start playing kind of awesomely. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to end up putting guys right into gas right on time. I'm going to be building this. Chrono boost that Zealot out. Okay, good. You're noticing that, you know, I'm doing a couple of bumps here, intentionally so. Like, for instance, I can't make a probe right now because I'm supply blocked. There's my Zealot popping out. Let's start another Zealot. Yeah, now he's getting started. Okay, cool. Go to the ramp. Alright. My money's actually quite low here. It's actually pretty darn low. But I'm going to stop playing when I'm at 34. Let's see. My money's quite low, but I'm obviously starting to make some mistakes. Okay. In a 4 warp gate, I know that having 4 gateways is a pretty important part of that. Let's start warp gate. Let's start a stalker. Let's go ahead and send you to the ramp. Go, yeah. And just as generally the part where some issues occur, where players they see the big things, but again, then they're like, oh crap, yeah, I got to keep making probes. And you see like a chrono boost just sort of randomly thrown out, and I want to get that 4th gateway up. Whoops, I'm realizing I'm getting supply blocked. Let me build a pylon. Come on, me. I'm going to stop when I'm at 34 food. Again, that's when I really want to stop. Let me just go ahead and make another gateway. And this is all fine and well and good, but you're noticing that I'm starting to not really have as many probes because I'm kind of forgetting to produce stuff. And let me make one of these. This is not actually as bad as it could be. There's a lot of players who will not even be able to constantly make probes and constantly make pylons efficiently, but that's fine. This is an example of poorly refined play and the improvement that we can get out of it. So then here's another thing that happens a lot. Players kind of like, you know, they'll have these 2 guys hanging out in here. Queue up some more probes. That's good. We're almost at 34 food. We're almost at our stopping point. Alright, well, it looks like Warp Gate's getting done. Come on, Warp Gate. Warping on in. And I'm sure many of you have stuff like this where you're like, okay, now I gotta rally. Chrono boost this guy. and that guy, because I want you to be warp gates as well. Whoops. I'm going to cancel these. So now, alright, cool. I'm warping guys in. And I'm supply blocked. Darn. And I just had 6 minutes and 40 seconds. 6 minutes and 40 seconds to hit 34 food. Somewhat exaggerated. Somewhat exaggerated. But, one game a week, I want you to pick that same build that you're going to do for a really long time. And I want you to just focus on repeating it. Now, there's a lot of ways to incorporate refinement games into your practice. You know, you can say something like, every Tuesday, I'm going to work on that 4 Warp Gate build. Or you can say something like, Protoss vs. Terran, I'm only going to have one build, and in the other matchups, I'm going to screw around. So every time I randomly play in a Protoss vs. Terran, I'm going to repeat that one build. So I want you to remember, 6 minutes and 40 seconds is when we got to 34 food. 6 minutes and 34 seconds. In this example of refinement, I want you to note a couple of things. I'm never going to forget a probe. I'm never going to forget a probe. And I'm also never going to forget a pylon. So here we go. I'm making that first pylon. Okay, cool. This is the probes and pylons aspect of things. These are things that I want you to just have on the brain. And in your refinement games, I want you to be saying, am I always making probes? Am I always making pylons? Am I ever getting supply blocked? And I want things to be very crisp. Like, right when the pylon finishes, that's when I chrono boost. Very good. I want you to have it be very, very refined. And if you do only one build in one matchup for a while, it's gonna get refined, whether you're being aware of it or not. But one game out of those 5 games you're making yourself play a week, I want you to force yourself to only think of refinement. So here we are. Here's a gateway going down on 13. You're noticing we built the gateway earlier in the previous game. We actually built it on 10, but in this game, we're being very, very certain to never forget a probe and to never forget a pylon. And right when I have enough money to build the structure, I'm going to build it. I didn't wait till I had 100 minerals to build the 75 mineral assimilator. I waited till I had 75, and then I built it right at 75. Right when I have 25 energy, that's when I'm going to be throwing down a chrono boost. Right when I have 100 minerals, I'm going to be building this pylon. You can already feel that things are happening faster in this game. And obviously, it's going to take more than one game to be able to get you to a high level of refinement in your play. It's going to probably take maybe 30 to 100 games of you doing just one thing over and over and over again. And that's fine. That is totally okay. That is actually ideal. Just do it a lot. And you'll notice that if you're doing one build a lot in a row, you're going to end up in a lot of different situations. But you just want to make sure you're constantly making pylons, constantly making probes. So am I going to forget a probe? Am I going to forget a probe? Am I going to forget it? Who do you think you're watching? Of course I don't forget a probe. You're crazy. Better make sure not to forget that pylon. That's actually a time when I have to make a pylon, because soon enough, this guy is going to be done. There's my warp gate going down. And when this little guy gets done, I need to make certain that I throw down a stalker. Okay, cool. And right as I'm about to get supply blocked, no way, did I forget a pylon? Who do you think you're watching, son? Absolutely not. Let's go ahead and continue to chrono boost some probes. You know, interestingly, I'm almost at 34 food. I'm getting mighty close to that. I'm actually going to stop making probes right now, because I want to do a super hardcore 4 warp gate. Yeah, let's go ahead and make some more warp gates. There's one of those guys getting out. I'm going to intentionally not make that sucker right now. I'm going to instead throw down a gateway, and I'm going to start spamming my E button. Alright, we have a sentry coming out. I'm just trying to careen towards the 34 food mark as fast as possible. Let's actually chrono boost this. And what happens is, you're starting to notice, I'm actually going to pause it for a moment here, starting to notice that, like, I kind of arbitrarily was like, yeah, you know what, I guess I'll just stop making probes right now. In the process of you trying to refine, you're going to suddenly discover things where you're like, I actually don't quite know what the correct decision is. So mess around. Should I have... I'm at 29 food. Maybe I shouldn't have made that 29th probe. Maybe I should have stopped at 28 or something like that. Maybe I should have stopped at 28. You can practice this as long as you have a clear set in your mind of what you're going to end up doing. 6 minutes and 50 seconds was, or 6 minutes and 40 seconds was the last time that we were ending up at that 40 food mark. Or 34 food mark. And suddenly we're already there at 5 minutes and 23 seconds. we're there. At 5 minutes and 23 seconds, we are at 34 food, where it took us a full minute and a half longer. A minute and a half is a long-ass time. This is what I mean by refinement. I want you to spend one of those games a week just doing a build over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. And here's something I want you to do. Here's something I want you to do. This comes back to the idea of making sure that I have fun. Right? Comes back to the idea of making sure that I have fun. I want you to record every single week. I want you to have a game saved in a replay so you can see your improvement. So let's say it is the 4 Warp Gate build. I want you to have week 1 of March. Here's my 4 Warp Gate. Week 2 of March. Here's my 4 Warp Gate. Week 3 of March. Here's my 4 Warp Gate. Just drag a game into there. And then one time later on down the road, I want you to just look at the first game in that folder versus the last game in that folder, and you'll see improvement. And you'll go, oh, I'm the man. Rarely ever do you have fixed examples of your own improvement. You don't really get that very often. A lot of times you'll feel like, I'm not doing very well, I'm so bad, I suck. But if you re-examine it, you'll realize, whoa, no, actually I'm getting a lot better. That was actually awful that way I used to play. Because you want to do that 4th thing that I said. Remember, mimicking people's play, refining your play, experimenting with new things, and benchmarking improvement. And having fun is in there, and celebrating and all that good stuff. But benchmarking improvement, I want you to have that sort of benchmark in there. So, I'm actually, the experimenting one, I'm going to come back to later. That's what I want you really high-level players to do a lot of, and I'm going to be explicit about that. I'm going to be very explicit about that later on. But I'm just going to suffice to say for now, if you are a Bronze League player and you're mimicking someone, and you're trying to refine one build, and on one day a week, you're trying to mimic someone's build. One day a week, you're trying to refine a build. The other 3 days of the week, you're doing whatever the hell you want. That's great. That's exactly where you are. So you play and you play and you play and you have your buddies. You play with them as well. It's very good to have buddies to play with. And that is another very easy way to benchmark your improvement. As you're a Bronze Leaguer, you're starting to play and you're realizing, hey, you know what? John and I, we spar a lot. And John always beats me, but you know what? I beat John that time. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, one night, you get promoted to silver. Or, oh my gosh, you get promoted to gold or something like that. This is really cool. Suddenly, you have improved, and you have real types of improvement. Now, when you're in the silver and gold level, this is something that I'm going to recommend that you do. Pick one night a week, one night every 2 weeks, or one night every week. Put it in stone, and say this is a session night, where you're going to play for 2 to 3 hours. You're just going to make yourself play. I generally think 90 minutes is reasonable for someone who's, not really hardcore. 90 minutes to 2 hours. More hardcore people who have built up that endurance, players like, In Control, who you'll see laddering for like 6 hours at a time. He can do 6-hour sessions. But I want you to have a session. I want you to have this scheduled in once every week or 2 weeks if you're a busy person. Where you just have 90 minutes to 2 hours. I like 2 hours, but 90 minutes I think is probably reasonable for most. And I want you to just play, use it to be like, all right, this is my time where I'm going to get serious. You're still doing your 5 nights a week thing, where you're doing some refinement, you're doing some experimenting, you're mimicking some people's play. Why don't you have a session night where you're like, yeah, I'm going to ladder, and this is the purpose of this session. And again, that purpose can be refining one build. That purpose can be experimenting. That purpose can be trying to win a lot. My God, you'll notice the first time I said trying to win is on this session. I haven't mentioned winning at all yet. I just haven't mentioned that. But I want you just now, that's when you can start to say, I want to try to do some winning and stuff. A lot of times, what we'll end up doing, what you'll hear me end up saying is to do session nights with your buddies. Do a King of the Hill. That's actually really fun. Get some buddies together. Have maybe 4 of you to play King of the Hill together. The other, and you're all on ref, so you can all chat to each other. It's a fun social experience. But I want you to devote a block of time to doing it. Just something fun. This is kind of the equivalent of saying, I want to get in shape. So yeah, you could go to the gym and do all that fun stuff, but once a week, go play, soccer in the park, go play frisbee, go play dodgeball, right? Do some fun social thing like that. And here now comes perhaps one of the most important things you're ever going to hear me say. Ever. Create goals. I like 2-week goals. Create a goal. Create a goal. Create, again, this benchmark for your progress. Because what are the big 5? Mimicking people's plays, refining your play, experimenting with new types of play, having benchmarks for whether or not you've improved, and having fun. This benchmarks thing, every 2 weeks, I want you to just have something that you want to say that you've done. Make it a real goal. I don't want you to say, I want to be a master level player when you're bronze, because that's not something that's going to happen in 2 weeks. Create a reasonable goal. Say something like, I want to play 40 games in the next 2 weeks. Cool. And at the end, you can be like, I played 40 games. I want you to say something like, I want to improve my rating 100 points in the next 2 weeks. Or I want to improve my rating 400 points in the next 2 weeks. And or you know what my brother used to do? He used to do this in Brood War all the time. He would create show matches against random people. He would be like, random person in Clan X17, because that was the place where all the good people hung back then. He would go up and be like, hey, do you want to play like a best of 7 show match? And the person would be like, yeah, all right, cool, let's do it. And my brother would actually train for this. He would like sit down and practice, and it gave him this motivation. And then he would play it, and he had some losses where he'd be like, he didn't end up winning, and he was like bummed out about it. But he would a lot of times win those show matches. And no matter what your benchmark is, whether it's play 40 games, or whether it is set 100 points or 400 points or something like that, or whether it is playing a show match where you're going to have 2 weeks to practice for it. Celebrate when you hit your benchmark. This is something that I did not do, and this made me very, very unhappy a lot of times. Where okay, on Icy Cup, this is not going to mean anything to any of you. On Icy Cup, I hit A+ with 3 accounts in 1 season because I was playing so much, and I hit A+ and I was like, all right, cool, but the map of the week's changed, so let me reset and let me try to work back up there. It's not working out, and I only hit 8, and I reset, and then I tried to work back, and I was like, yeah, but my Zergver's Protoss is not working out. I should have stopped and been like, holy crap, I rule, I'm a badass, but I didn't. And I kind of I still remember that 2-month period where I was actually kind of stressed out because I was playing so much, because I was like, oh god, I have so many holes in my play. I needed to just take a break and be like, I need to celebrate. And I actually stopped for a week because I was like, I'm stressing myself out. And I just messed around. I played Shining Force 3 on the Sega Saturn, which is a really good game, and had a bunch of fun with that. I was watching Jericho, which is a really good TV show with my friend Devin. And then I came back and I was refreshed, and I was actually playing a lot better. And I should have taken a lesson from my brother a lot earlier for celebrating, because this should be fun. That should be the number one goal ever, is having all this fun. And part of the thing I love about this whole show match thing is with your group of buddies that you have that you're playing with, they can sit in and watch you. And your buddies don't have to be the same skill level. In my LAN party group, my brother and I were the hardcore players, and then there were Dane and Bean, who played sort of, a lot, but casually. They were more BGH players. And then, Brandon played less than us, and less than everyone, and Parker played, least of all. But you know what? It would be really fun when, Nick would be playing a game, and Parker would be there watching him, and then when he was done, Parker would be like, dude, that game was awesome. Nick was like, oh, I can't believe I won that game. You have someone to celebrate with. In Control even talks about this a lot with his coaching, where, yeah, he's coaching someone in the Silver League, who entered in a Silver League tournament. But because In Control is invested in a relationship with this person, when that person enters in a Silver League tournament, In Control drops everything to go watch, not because he wants to demonstrate how supportive he is, but because he is just uncontrollably come on, please win, come on. And when that person wins, In Control's like, yes! Yeah! And he goes and he's like, yes, and it's a fun communal experience. But again, benchmarks every 2 weeks. So 1 game a day. 1 game a day, play just 1 game a day, 5 days a week. You're still watching your stream, you're still following your hero. And once every 2 weeks, I want you to have a goal. And maybe once every 2 weeks, have a session night where you play. This is starting to sound like quite a bit of time, but it's really not. At lunch, I watch a stream. Right before I go to bed at night, I play a game. You'll have time to squeeze that in and to make it sort of fun. And if it's something you're starting to like, you'll slowly be drawn into there, and you'll slowly start to learn more times to improvement and all that good stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about some experimenting. This daily is going to be going a little bit longer. That's fine, because you know what? I want to have a nice little intro type of thing to do. And I want all of you to start creating little micro communities for yourself. You and 4 people who you just know now, who you just interact with, who you have fun playing King of the Hill Night with, and who you seek feedback from each other with. Throughout all this, I want to reemphasize some of the stuff I said right at the start of this. When you win, celebrate. Share it with people. Brag a little bit, right? Don't be a dick about it, right? But do that. And when you lose, yeah, I know you'll feel hot in the face. I know all that nasty chemical process gives you that kind of feeling. That's fine. But then once all that hot-faced feeling goes away, I want you to then share some of your losses with your buddies and be like, oh, dude, what should I have done here? Oh, gosh. And then have a discussion about it, because StarCraft should be social, should be fun. And as I said in my 100th episode, in the My Life with StarCraft, when you start performing well, and when you start winning, and you start improving, that's nobody's fault but you. A lot of people I know, their parents have lots of money, so that way, I was having a little bit of stress with my apartment, so my mom bought me a house. So now I never have to worry about it ever again, and my dad gives me a $3,000 a month salary to just burn on purses. Man purses, merces, right? Like, and I can just get away with it. And it's, I had a connection. My dad works at the college, so I managed to get admitted without having any actual merit. But in StarCraft, you don't win because you have money. You don't win because anyone pulled strings for you. You won because you just refined it yourself. You just refined it yourself. And again, the big 3 ways to do it are just to mimic other people's play, to just refine one build hardcore, and to experiment a lot. And all this should be motivated by the last 2 things on that list. Benchmarking your improvement, creating little goals for yourself and celebrating and bragging, and having fun, having a group of buddies that you can be social with, who you can practice with, who can feel bad for you when you lose and try to pick you back up, and who can embrace your joy as well when you end up winning. And a lot of this you can tie back into watching tournaments with people. Seriously, if you watch tournaments by yourself, you're missing out on the joy of watching a tournament with like 4 people on Skype. Do that. So I want to talk a little bit about experimenting, and this is going to be a little bit more important for you people who, for you fine individuals who are up. Once you start getting into platinum or diamond, I want you really to begin experimenting hardcore. Like hardcore. Let's actually play against a medium Protoss. Here's something I want to try. Let's say it's Thursday, and it's time for me to just do some experimenting. I want to play a weird Terran vs. Protoss. I always go just Marauders. What would be something cool? I want to try to do Reapers. How would I do that? Well, I want to do some sort of Speed Reaper play, and I want to obviously get an expansion up. I also, how could I end up doing this effectively? You know what? I'm going to say straight up, I play StarCraft 2 at a fairly proficient level because I do a effing TV show about it and play it a ton, and my entire life is built around it. That's probably not the case for you. I'll just go out and say it. The way I'm going to experiment is going to be different from the way you're going to experiment. You might say something like, I don't build carriers. I'm just going to expand and build carriers. That's great. I'm going to try to do a Reaper play as Terran using some of the techniques that I like to do. But the important thing is that you're experimenting, that you're getting your head out of the box. Why is the experimenting so important? Because it can feel very sterile if you're just refining. I actually should have mentioned this earlier, but it shall get mentioned anyways. Here's the real tragedy that happens to a lot of people who want to improve and want to get better. First of all, they don't have buddies that they practice with. They don't have heroes that inspire them. They are told the following: you just need to macro and micro and do the standard builds over and over and over, and you will improve. Now, I'll be honest with you. that probably is the fastest way to improve, but you're not really going to be that happy. Let me actually say that it's probably the fastest way that you're going to get to diamond. But that hinders your thought process to say, yeah, I just need to work inside this box. I need to work inside this little box. And if you work inside that box, sure, this box can take you to diamond, but what happens when you end up in weird situations, or what happens when you start getting frustrated and bored? Working in this little box is not going to help you. You need to experiment for a couple of reasons. First of all, it makes the game fresh. It makes you feel clever. If you lose when you're being experimental, you just go, I was experimenting, I don't care, whatever. That's actually what Fun Day Monday is on this show. Fun Day Monday is an excuse for you to go, you know what? I am gonna dick around. And if I lose, I just go, LOL, I was doing Fun Day Monday. And if you win, you go, I'm the man. So here, you know what? I'm gonna do this Reaper play. I'm gonna try to play with Reapers in Terran vs. Protoss, and if I start winning, I'm gonna be like, I'm the man. And then maybe that experimenting might transition onto my refining day. I might say, ooh, that thing I experimented with is so fun that I'm actually gonna try to start working this out as a real build. Yeah, all right. So 1 day a week, I'm going to be experimenting. 1 day a week. So I'm actually going to try to do some Reaper playing. What am I thinking right now in my Reaper play? What am I thinking right now? I could actually spend time thinking beforehand, but I'm going to think that I kind of want to factory a little bit faster because I really do want that speed Reaper upgrade. I'm going to have a little bit of trouble against early attacks. Yeah, you know what? Let me actually... I'm probably going to need a wall off. I'm going to build my first thing a little bit close. No, you know what? I'm actually not going to wall off. I'm going to build a bunker at my front. I'm a little worried about early defense with Reapers. I know that I can probably get away with getting some barracks early with a lot of gas and then building a command center after that just because I have such a money surplus. And then while I'm doing that, I'm probably going to add on some more barracks. I'm thinking out loud right now. And right now what I'm doing... Yeah, burrow it and unburrow it. Awesome. This is one of my... What I'm doing in my head right now is one of my favorite things.
Not enough.
It's me just experimenting around and just trying to think of ways to do new things that I like doing. Alright, so let's see here. Let's do some more thinking out loud. Again, this might not be the inner monologue you have, but it's important that you just take some time to experiment. So let's see here. I'm not going to build a second geyser yet. I'm going to start that factory first. I'm going to have to build a supply depot in a moment. Yeah, I guess I'm doing my pretty typical orbital command stuff. I'm actually going to send that guy up to mine. I'm actually also going to... there was something... Oh, yeah, there's confined mouse cursor. Accept. Alright, cool. Now I can actually scroll my screen. Alright, cool. So now I'm going to send that guy. Alright, cool. I have my screen scrolling, working now. Good. I'm going to build a supply depot, because that's pretty normal. I'm going to have to build a second gas geyser. Let me build my factory first, actually. And then I'm going to build just a few Marines, so that way I can build a bunker. And then I'm going to begin going Speed Reapers. And you might just blindly go Speed Reaper, because it makes you happy.
Upgrade complete.
But I'm going to try to account for the fact that I might get attacked early on, and I might die. So there's my factory going down. I'm getting this factory early on because I really do want to have speed for my Reapers coming up. Reapers are pretty gas intensive, so let me get the gas right now. I'll build another one of those suckers. Let's see here. I should probably begin getting some more barracks right now. Let me actually hang out here. I don't actually think I need to begin getting a bunker quite yet. Oops, gotta put guys in my gas. I'm gonna have a lot more minerals than I normally do because Reapers are very, very cheap on the they're very, very cheap on the gas front. So there is my nitro pack upgrade coming out now. They're very cheap on the minerals. I don't know if I said that properly. I'm starting to get a little antsy. I probably should end up getting a bunker kind of soon. Well, let's just go ahead and throw one down now. I'll rally this stuff back. I'm still making sure I have my scroll enabled. Good.
Not enough.
I'm getting this kind of late, this supply depot, but it looks like it's working out okay. I'm doing a bad job of sending my guys back to mine, but I always have a hard time doing that when I'm on windowed mode because I'm in caster mindset. Alright, so let me send this guy out. Oh god, I'm so bad at this shift sending back. Wow, how embarrassing. But I do have a Reaper out, so I can begin poking.
I'm listening.
And I'm experimenting right now. I'm having kind of a lot of fun experimenting, to be honest. I'm probably going to build a command center in a moment. I almost have speed up. I'm starting to realize, you know what, I may have gotten this a little early, because now I have 2 Reapers with speed, and I don't know how much good that's going to do me. I do need to end up expanding here in a moment. I'm also noticing I'm getting supply blocked here. Uh-oh. Gotta make sure that doesn't happen. Let me go ahead and rally my duders here. Now, you see, in my process of experimenting, I'm starting to realize things like, when do I start getting Marauders? Do I just rush into the back of his base and start trying to do damage right now with the Reapers? Do I do other things? These questions are coming up in my mind. I'm going to try to start answering some on the fly. You know what? Once this 3rd Reaper pops over, let me actually rally my barracks over here. That seems pretty cool. This SCV here is going to be good for me.
Additional supply depot.
Oopsie daisies. I'm not going to get any upgrades yet. I'm going to add more barracks first. And then when I have like 5 barracks, that's when I'm going to begin getting those upgrades. I'm noticing I have a lot of gas. Whoa, do I have a lot of gas. Wow. I guess I really did not need as much gas as I thought. I really should build another depot. Alright, so let's go ahead. 6 Reapers, I guess, is what I'm attacking with.
I'm going.
Alright, gotta make sure I don't forget that stuff. Did I not make a depot? Or I did. Okay, I'm gonna start making some Marauders now. Right when I attacked with the 6 Reapers. And I'm just gonna bounce off this cliff. Let me actually make another barracks. No, I'm actually just gonna rally all these here. Maybe this will be good. Oh. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually thinking that I incidentally stumbled upon some timing that I think is actually pretty good, where I'm starting to get my Marauders and my Stim right as my orbital command is finishing up. I think I shouldn't have built that barracks. I'll just cancel it. I don't know if that's good or not. Yeah, get out of my face, stalker. Maybe get some combat shield. I don't know. I think I'm winning at the very least, but I also think that this timing is working out kind of good. I think I can actually end up building a bunker here. Like, this is suddenly hitting a point where I might actually use this in a real game. I would suddenly think to myself, how would I deal with some sort of a Void Ray type thing? Would I be able to actually handle that? I also realized I didn't get any infantry upgrades. I didn't get a +1 attack. What's another thing I realized? Yeah, since I got the factory so early for the Speed Reapers, I might actually be able to just start getting double medevac really fast. Oh, you know, I can actually use that factory that's in my base to make, like, reactors. That way when I make the next 2 barracks, I can just, like, use the factory to speed that up. I'm starting to have all these ideas. My brain's starting to loosen up. And I'm starting to, realize more things that I didn't before if I was working in my small little box. And all of a sudden, I could use 1 day a week to begin refining it. I would really say that... Whoops, I accidentally bumped my computer. I would say that really the Platinum and Diamonders are going to really dig a lot harder in those experimentation nights. I want to just throw it out there for the Silver and Gold players. If you're Bronze, I want you just to play 5 games a week at least. If you want to do a session night, that's fine. And make sure that you have a hero who you're mimicking. Make sure that you are really trying to just pick whatever morsels you can out of there. And of course, rewatch the Probes and Pylons daily. That's another Newbie Tuesday. or pylons and probes, that will really give you a sense of what I mean when I'm saying refine. But I hope this has been at least somewhat of a framework that really goes to demonstrate how essential it is to have friends who play and to make sure that you're making fun the core. Having friends and buddies who are StarCrafters with you is awesome. I talk StarCraft with a lot of people, such as Asher down the hall, or Sean through the wall, or Kevin, who's coming over right now to play Settlers of Catan with me. We're probably going to talk about StarCraft while we play. Or Tristan, who I talk to a lot, you know. A lot of times we'll be like, what'd you do today? Oh, I had a cool day at work. I was testing these bugs, and I found this really cool one, and you know, I was working under deadline, and I fortunately got all my stuff done. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, you know, I did blah, 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 answered emails, and I'll be like, yeah, and I'm watching Kiwikaki versus Idra right now. And I'm like, oh, can I watch this with you? He's like, yeah, sure. And then we have a bonding experience. I want you to go seek out a buddyship group. Form that buddy group hardcore. Interact with them regularly. Schedule times to do it. And then as you get plummeted into Practice League, I want you to do the following. Play 5 games a week, at least. 1 game a day, at least. Give yourself 2 days off, yes. Celebrate when you win. Make fun of yourself when you lose. Embrace the losses. If you get frustrated when you lose, don't try to make yourself feel not frustrated right then. Wait a little bit, and later on, joke and have fun and do all that sort of good stuff and be like, God, I can never remember my second pylon. Ever. Arrgh. And have a lot of fun poking and prodding at yourself. And be very encouraging to the fun folks that you are with. Then when you're starting to get really into the play, I would say that once you get to Silver League, you know, which means that you start to have a real grip on the stuff that you want to do. Mimic people's play. Mimic those heroes that you have. Refine. 1 day a week, refine a build that you're only going to repeat for like months. I want you to be refining that build. Experiment 1 day a week. Create little goals for yourself. About 2 weeks is my favorite. If it's a month, it tends to be too long. A week tends to be too short if you're really busy. If you know you're like, you're in a really easy semester at college, you can probably set like week goals for yourself. But 2 weeks is pretty easy to say, I want to do this. Have King of the Hill nights with your friends. Set up a show match. Everything I'm saying, you can do yourself. You could go enter into these, like, you know, tournaments, these open leagues, like the SC Reddit Open. You could start entering into, you know, like MLG and stuff, but those are big steps. Feel free to make little tiny steps for yourself so you don't have to have everything resting on some huge pressure moment, because those tournaments can be really intimidating. I mean, I've been playing in the World Cyber Games tournament since 2001, but before then, I would enter in random 16-person tournaments that were only hosted impromptu, just on the spot, because it was a fun way to just feel some sort of improvement and feel some sort of benchmark, and do that sort of stuff with yourself. And then, of course, as you're starting to get into Platinum and Diamond, really emphasize those experimenting nights and really have refining night, where you do 3-hour sessions where you're just refining your builds, and it'll be great. And then over time, what you'll start to find is that there's this whole feedback loop that happens. You get together with your buddies, you watch the games, you see them do some sort of style of play that you like, you come back, you refine it, you experiment, you discover something new, you come back to your buddies, and they love it, and they want to share it more, and then you enter in tournaments, and you start improving, and it's a whole lot of fun. But the one thing that I want to end all of this on, you're going to feel an urge to not play. You're going to feel this urge to not play. Just play. Just make yourself play. A lot of times you're going to be like, oh, I'm so scared of losing. Just go out there and just do it. Just seriously do it. There are so many things in life where there's just this wall where you're like, I don't know, I don't want to do it. Just do it. Just step over it. Like going to the gym. Sometimes I feel like I have to go work out in private before I can go to the gym because everyone's so fucking healthy and so buff. But you know what? Once I just started going to the gym, I started getting in a lot better shape. I was actually not on camera. Like, at the end of my senior year of college, I was like, ugh, I looked grody. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to do it. And then I looked hot after the summer. I'm kind of going back to grody, but I'm gonna go be hot in the future. And I want you to be hot in StarCraft. You're gonna go, but I'm a bronze player, I'm no good. Just play. This is part of the reason why I emphasize buddyship so much, is I want that to feel smaller, but again, no one will ever be able to give you that motivation. there's always going to be that feeling of, ugh, and then until you start playing. And then after 2 weeks, it'll just be a habit, and you'll be like, oh, this isn't so bad, and you'll be opening up into a whole world of having incredible amounts of fun with improving and socializing and following a major tournament and having your heroes being, and feeling inspired and motivated. So now that we have had that very, very long daily, I want to use Markio's individual little question thing. Markio, if you could just update that. Looks like we're going to do a little bit of question time. Markio, by the way, is unbelievably badass. He just programs all sorts of things that make the stream better. So, for instance, he just has this automated question grabber from the chat. So Zorel asks, Dear Day 9, what's the best way to maximize your practice time with your sparring partner, especially since you start to know their playstyle after a while? Is there anything I can focus on other than just specializing a certain build timing push? The important thing is actually just to play a lot. What will end up happening, now, the thing is that I say this after having the most ultimate practice partner, Nicholas Plot, my brother. Nicholas Plot. He and I lived together in the same room for 18 years. And for, let's see, how many years were we playing Brood War together? 7. From 6th grade. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. We were just like hardcore. No, I guess I went to college, so 6 years. We were just around each other all the time. And this is with all sorts of games. Like Soul Calibur, we played a ton. You're just going to play a lot, and what's going to happen is you're going to start to learn his style, and then, like, for instance, let's say I'm Terran and you're Protoss, you're my practice partner. One day, I'm going to be experimenting with my Reaper thing, and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to try that Reaper thing against you, but I'm not going to tell you. And all of a sudden, Reaper's going to come, and you're going to be like, Sean, what the hell? You never go Reapers. And I'm going to go, I'm going to have a fun little time one-upping you. Just make sure that you're playing with your practice partner. I didn't talk about this very much here, but it's a really good idea with a practice partner to say, hey, I need to refine this 4-gate build. Can you do this, like 10 games in a row, and I can practice it? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. I didn't talk as much about that practice partner stuff because, or about, that whole practice technique with a practice partner, because this whole daily was about you getting into it and having fun and feeling inspired and motivated to play more. Less about, here's the rigorous ways to improve. Everything I said is more about how you can continue to get into it. Even the refining night, where you have a build where you start to get better and better and better, you'll start to feel, hey, you know what? I'm really starting to get good at this. This build is starting to feel really good, and it'll start to feel a lot more crutch-like. So let's say, Dachit says, Dear Day 9, I'm a silver player. I usually play Terran because that's what I learned during the single player. Would you suggest playing the other races to expand horizons, or just stick with the familiar? What about doing co-op games? I'd actually say stick with Terran, stick with one race, just to limit, because interestingly, the human mind does not deal with having a lot of decisions very well. There's a great psychological study I read not long ago where they had 36 types of jelly on a rack. And when people went up to it, a lot of times they'd look around and they would just walk away because they'd be like, I don't know what jelly to choose, I'm done. In other in the same test case, they put 6 types of jelly, and like 70% more people bought something just because there were fewer choices. I mean, even imagine when you, go to a restaurant and there's like a billion choices on there. What do you normally do? You go to like the one thing, I'll get chicken fingers. But if you have a menu that has like 3 things and you haven't tried any of them, but there's just 3, you have a much easier time doing it. If you say, I'm going to play all races and all matchups, it can be very daunting and very overwhelming. I say scope down to things that the human mind can handle, like doing one race, and just really focus on that. Sure, you can do something like once every 2 weeks, you're going to set something aside where you're like, I'm going to play Protoss and Zerg today. But I would prefer that you just sort of stick low. Fritz asks an amazing question. Dear Day 9, I'm that guy who beats himself up for losing games and doesn't ladder much. Should I just go for it and not care what friends say, or does it make sense to be in the zone for laddering? Heart the Fritz. There's heart back at you, Fritz. Yeah, I would not beat yourself up for laddering at all. Just make yourself do it. Like, make yourself do 1 game a day and just don't really care. And get, like, a practice buddy. If you have friends who are being negative and nasty, just don't hang out with them anymore. Why would you want to be around negative, nasty people? Ugh, that sounds miserable. I don't want that. Seriously, go to here. I'm coming back here. I'm coming to Team Liquid. I'm coming to Team, oh, that's Text Twist. God, I still can't believe I missed the word dingo. How enraging. Where is, oh yeah, I scrolled it off the screen. Yeah, Marky programmed this whole thing. Isn't this awesome? That's so good. I love Markio. Yeah, go to Team Liquid. Go right down here to the blog. Right down here. And be like, I would love, create your own blog and be like, I want a practice partner. I want a practice buddy who will be positive and encouraging and work with me on things. And if you just develop a relationship with someone where you're both struggling together, you will naturally be encouraging each other a ton. The important thing is just to get out there, meet people, maybe play on the ladder and say, hey, you beat me. I'm trying to practice more. Could you maybe play another game with me? Talk more in your games. That can make it feel less intimidating, but just don't be hard on yourself. Losing just happens. And make yourself play more. Losing is not a big deal. There's this huge shame component. Like, oh God, if I lose, people will know, and then I'll look dumb. You look as dumb as you feel you do. Like, in Control, I'm going to take as an example. At PAX, he was just playing show match games, like at the Kingston booth. And he won a lot of them, but some games he lost. Wow. In Control, who's representing Team Evil Geniuses, who is basically paid to be a badass and be there to draw attention, lost in front of a crowd of people, and it wasn't even an impersonal wall like on the internet. They could see In Control, and he was right there. And In Control was like, yeah, whatever, I'm bound to lose some games, and he was fine. And his living is StarCraft 2. He was fine with it. And a lot of times, especially at the start of people's, upswing, there's this whole, oh, God, I can't look bad. I just can't. It's going to be so dumb. You just lose games. Okay, I want you to go right now to SC2ranks.com. I'm going to do that right now. Whoopsie daisies. Accidentally went to the wrong place. SC2ranks.com. I'm actually going to bring this thing back up here. All right, look at this. The number one player in the world, 58%. Look at these losses. He lost 715 times, 1,500 losses. Who are some really famous people? Hey, Nesty, he won a GSL. He's lost almost 800 times. 800 times. Select is a bastard. He's only lost 150 times, only 260 times. What a double bastard. OGS MC won a Star League, 437 losses. That is so many losses. But it's fine. You know what? You can win a GSL and be forever immortalized as a champion of StarCraft 2 and still lose almost 1,000 games publicly. Publicly, those replays could be out there. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Custom Call says, Dear Day 9, what do you suggest to players who take long breaks from StarCraft to get back into it? Do the same things I say here. Set benchmarks for yourself. Maybe even play some 2v2s so you get back in the feel. I do that a lot. I play 2v2s. Just start playing. Start being active. Yeah, just start being active. Let's see here. Yeah, just be active. Don't worry. Don't stress. I'll take a question from Incognitus, who narrowly lost the admin battle yesterday. Dear Day, I have trouble dealing with losing. I just tend to beat myself up over it. I just get heated and then can't seem to play too many more for that day. Yes, I have an ego and I hate losing. Is there a good way to cope with it? Here comes something very important. Very, very important. What does it mean to feel terrible after you lose? What is that? It is a chemical process in your body driven largely by adrenaline. In other words, I can give you a pill that will make you feel the exact same way. And it's important not to read too much into that feeling and just to let the feeling pass through your body. Let me give an example. You ever open up the bathroom door or something and there's someone right there and you go, ah! And you get that huge in your heart. You're like, oh my God, I'm about to die. And then, oh no, it's just a person. Whew! And then you do this, you go, holy shit. Oh my God. You have that gross heart poundy thing. But you know what? You think, yeah, it's not a big deal. And then for maybe 5 minutes you feel that sort of thing, but you don't think a second thing of it. When you lose in StarCraft 2 and you feel horrible, I want you to go, and I want you not to think a second thing of it. I want you to just close your eyes, step away from your computer, and just sit and feel. Don't think, just feel. And slowly that feeling will go away. Don't think, oh, I could have done this to one. Or don't think, oh, that bastard, I can't believe him, he sucks. Don't think, oh, I'll never be good at StarCraft. Don't think, oh, God, now I have to do my homework and I hate my homework. Just sit there and just be like, I'm angry. And try to clear your mind. Like, force those thoughts out of your mind, and it'll slowly go away. It'll slowly go away, and then you'll be done. You'll be like, oh, thank God that chemical process in my body is over with. This actually took me a long time to be able to do. I used to get real mad. I've taken running punches at cinder block walls when angry and like broken things. Like my hand, I broke this bone here. I was in my house when I was in high school, and I lost a game. I was like, and I had a bottle of Ball's Guarana, the caffeinated beverage, and I threw it at the wall, and it stuck in the wall. It just went, boom. Like the tip of the bottle just went, boom, and I was like, oh my God, and I'm gonna have to like tell my mom now. She's gonna be so mad. It's like I gave in to this anger. Now I know exactly what's happening. In fact, something I do is I take a towel and I just twist it. And I twist the towel, or I bite in a lemon. Just read goofy anger management techniques. But the important thing is that you know that the fact that you're angry doesn't say anything about you. It's just a chemical process. Don't stress over it. Don't beat yourself up for feeling that way. Just get the feeling done with. Then come back and say, okay, I lost. Now how do I deal with that? It'll be awesome. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to take one more question, and then I'm going to go away. It has been currently an hour and a half daily. Oh, yes, hip hip hooray. Silverin says, Dear Day 9, what should you do if your friends put their ego before having fun? Just talk to them about it. Just say, hey, dude, I want to have more fun with this game, but I always feel like you're trying to do the macho thing. Just go talk to them about it. Don't feel weird about doing that. I mean, like, it's kind of funny. I had this friend, Dane, who you've heard me talk about a lot, and Day 9 Daily 65 that was recently brought to the front of the queue on Blip. He's relentless about having fun in games, and when he loses, he's just like, yeah, shit happens. He just does not care. And I actually was just like, oh God, I can't believe that guy did that, and I just can't believe we lost. And he's like, dude, shit happens. Let it go, man. It doesn't matter. And he'd actually like make fun of me for it, and stuff. And after a while, I was kind of like, I was all offended at first. But then I was like, yeah, actually, it's a lot more fun to just kind of focus on having fun and not about winning all the time. Because we are playing 2v2v2v2s on BGH. I shouldn't really feel frustrated about these sort of things. I should really just have fun. Just make other people have fun. My whole life, I'm just trying to be fun and to make other people have fun, and for me especially, to have lots and lots and lots of fun. So just impose that happiness on people around you. Said Sean, dropping things on his desk. That's going to wrap up this daily. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am starving, so there is my banner. I'm going to bed. Peace, 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 peace.